As we like always, and we got the Marvel 616 official trailer, Disney Plus something or other. So I think this is going to be another continuation. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Don't, damn it. I knew I was going to do it. I freaking knew I was going to click that button on accident. Yeah, I think this is going to be like another trailer like the one we saw before with all the different shows, I'm assuming. Let's just get into it, check it out, see what it's all about. Let's hope it's good.
Stan always said that the Marvel Universe is the world outside your window. And that the people could find characters they could see themselves in.
Oh, maybe not.
Bringing a piece of art to life is difficult to not put yourself into the work.
That's the Spider-Man we all know and love. Ooh.
We were artistic rebels.
I can't even imagine the impact that had.
Line.
You better take off your shoes because I'm gonna knock your socks off.
We'd love that, yeah.
People really believe women weren't reading comics that inspired us to do more.
Cosplay is the visible expression of one's fandom.
Nobody else had ever done this before.
Fearless storytellers.
I killed Spider-Man.
What? That's insane.
I remember seeing that clip.
Spotlight program is a collection of stage plays written for high school.
I never thought I could make a living drawing.
Yo creo que siempre quise ser dibujante de cómics, pero siempre pensé que iba a ser imposible.
The Japanese Spider-Man is totally different from the original Spider-Man.
We're living in the golden age of toys.
Superheroes connect us.
I think that's BS. The golden age of toys?
It's one big epic story.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that's the... I think that's a load of crap that he just said that. The golden age of toys... We've seen the golden age of toys. Like, we've seen the golden age of comics, actually. The golden age of toys... Do we actually have an official golden age of toys? I know the Star Wars era of toys was there. Those were like some of the... Maybe it's... I don't know. I think... With how you can make things look nowadays, maybe it is the golden age of toys. I don't know. I know that one of the dumbest practices in like a cartoon, let alone maybe comics, but in cartoons, if you can't sell toys to make up some extra money or cover costs or whatever their model is for like Thundercats, the remake of Thundercats, if you couldn't, that was such a good show. And if you couldn't sell those toys, that cartoon got canceled. The stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I hate that that's a business model. For comics, I don't necessarily know. I think toys definitely help sell or keep the costs going, especially in comics when it could be digital. But as long as you have a market for things, I think we're in the golden age of nerddom is what I think it is. Not just toys, not just comics, but all things nerd. All things that we love. That we're kind of like, oh, yeah, I play video games. And like, what? It's like, hey, it's Grand Theft Auto, man. You get to have sex with hookers and then kill them. What do you mean video games are for kids? Like, you had to, back in the day, you had to explain yourself. And nowadays, you don't. Cosplay is, I think, a big part of it. You know, because on the surface level, like on the surface, well, I'm not going to get much more into that, but on the surface, you can find the most gorgeous women or young women dressing up in these comic book characters. I think it definitely started like way back when you had like the monster girls, right? The girls that dressed up, the motocross girls dressing up, you know, for events, right? Wearing skimpy clothes, promoting Monster or NOS or whatever drag race event you're at, or motocross. Motocross was a big part of it. And then that dressing up to be the visual lock for like, here's our product right here. It's right here, you know, and then it kind of evolved beyond that, so to speak. You know, like even UFC has ring girls, right? Or octagon girls, whatever dumb shit they do. But, you know, and of course WWE with the divas, that was a big thing where you're just promoting women. And then cosplay, again, we're going surface. Of course, guys are a part of cosplay, but I remember a big thing, which was seeing girls that didn't feel like or didn't seem like they were in the mold. Like I was a nerdy person in high school. I did all kinds of stuff, whether it was D&D to going to desert parties because I live in Arizona. I did both. I did all kinds of stuff. But there's a lot of people that I had friends that were on like the desert party off-roading friends that had no clue and could not relate to like the people that were like playing D&D over here that I knew, right? They just couldn't. They couldn't understand it. They couldn't wrap their brain around it. And so when people like that started seeing girls that they found attractive, some blonde girl or redhead or whatever dyed color hair they had, you know, with the cleavage popping out, and they were very gorgeous, but they're dressed up as like a female Spider-Man or something, or Spider-Woman, you know, or the actual Spider-Woman that's in, I forget her name. The hell is her name? The one that's all in red. She's in San Francisco. That character, I can't remember her name. It's not Rebecca. Is it something Drews? Something Drews. Her name's Drews. Rebecca Drews? Something, I don't know. Drews is her last name, I believe. You know, you see girls wearing these costumes, you know, like, and people start getting like, you know, they would gravitate towards that. And then stuff like that definitely started to change. And then you know, when I was in high school, finding a girl that played video games was pretty rare. And then it was just, it all kind of moved at the same time. Once like one group of people, whether it was like attractive girls, you know, that was a big part of it, I think, for a lot of people. Once like girls started getting into it, and whether it was the look, cosplay, you know, sex sells kind of thing, or playing video games over here, having pro female gamers, I think that was a good side thing that pushed a lot of people into it. And then there was just people playing Call of Duty, right? There was just guys that were playing Call of Duty and Halo, and those were selling games. And that kind of stuff branches into comics or branches into other nerd things, right? I remember when I was growing up, there was a lot of stuff like, I broke up with my boyfriend because he spent more time playing a video game than he did, you know, spending time with me. You know what I mean? And like all that kind of stuff, that's like super surface casual level of nerdy, right? And all that stuff over there, whether it's video games, you know, or whatever, that leads to heavy nerdy stuff like comics. And comics can lead to like D&D, as far as like your frat bro friend that thinks all that stuff's stupid, and then it weren't, you know, he sees a hot girl dressed up as this, or a hot girl playing a video game, or a hot girl doing this, and that's going to leave, you know, the sheep dudes to seeing what this stuff is. And then the more it snowballs, the more it kind of branches out. And I'm putting a lot of emphasis on women, because there's a lot of those like sheep dudes, bros, frat guys that just didn't care, but if they saw a pretty girl doing it, they were all about it. You know what I mean? But once it started becoming more mainstream, more people like what is his name? Zach, the guy that played Chuck in the TV show. Zach, he was in the Thor movies. He's like this big celebrity guy that's like huge into, you know, comics. And there's other people that would come out and say, oh, I'm big into this stuff too. So when you had celebrities getting into it, then you had like just people that were popular that were just like, screw it, I like Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm playing the card game right now. Although I'm, you know, I know how to talk to women. You know, when you had stuff like that also happening at the same time as other things going on in different avenues, it definitely becomes I remember growing up through it, man. Growing up, comics were just the worst. Video games were bad, but comics was even worse because it was comics. And comics was the ultimate nerdy. If you can get people on board with video games and stuff like that, you can get people on board with comics, at least in my experience. You know, and not always, but and I know I'm making a stretch for some of these, but I'm going based off of some of the people I knew. Like some of the guys that I knew, if a girl was involved, they were down. You know, that's why I put a lot of emphasis on that. But there was just a lot of people that I remember going to the first LAN kind of style thing where it was a big computer place. My friend's brother brought me, and with some of his friends, and they were all D&D guys, and I went with them. And it was like where they sold Yu-Gi-Oh cards, DBZ cards, you know, computer stuff so you could play games and LAN stuff. And there was just girls everywhere. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just like sweaty neckbeard guys, you know, as the joke goes. There's a lot of them there, you know, but there's a lot of other people from other walks of life there as well. And when you go to the places like that, or you go to comic book shops, I went to comic book shops all the time, and you got to see all types of people. It wasn't just like the comic book guy from Simpsons. It was all kinds of people. And once you just start realizing that, it definitely brings the whole world into your little bubble. And your little bubble isn't as small anymore. You realize everybody's a part of it. And doesn't, like, again, it kind of goes back to that whole thing. If you didn't realize it, judging a book by its cover is never the smartest thing to do, because you're going to find out that you really don't know a whole lot about anything if you're just making judgments and things based off of the surface level. You're just not going to get it, right? The most attractive girl over here that you thought would be like into parties and frat bros could be over here and be like, yeah, I love, you know, Elfen Light or DBZ or something like that, or I love playing Call of Duty, or, you know, something, right? I stream on Twitch, whatever it is. And then you can see the same dude that wears a polo, and you think, oh, he's going to like some douchey country club thing to play golf with all his like rich bro friends, and it's like, nah, he just has a bad sense of style. But he likes comics as well, and especially with the Marvel MCU, I think it's definitely helped for a lot of the casuals or not understanding people to really go, wow, this is big, this is just entertainment, this is just as incredible as any, you know, 007 movie I've ever seen, except there's just so much more. And a lot of people that I think didn't really get it also were finding, you know, they were going through movies and getting into stuff like this as well. So it is a big difference. There's a lot of different reasons why. It could be your best friend. Again, we could go back to just some attractive girl. Could be a movie. You could have gotten into video games, and there's a Marvel video game, and they're like, well, I'll check that out, it looks interesting. And then I go, oh my god, this is really cool, I'm gonna start reading some comics, because I didn't really like to read a lot, and I got into Green Lantern. I just like the whole space and lantern stuff, and, you know, that's where I started reading. And also the Ultimate Universe, read all of that, the Fantastic Four, the Ultimate, whatever they were called, I think there's the Fantastic Four, the Ultimate Spider-Man, all that stuff was great. And I don't know why I got into that. It was something. It was just something crazy that made me want to read it. And there's always going to be a gateway to something. So with that, my throat is killing me. I'm going to go. I'm going to stop rambling now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Later.